know what time it is. Marvin Devine, Huber, Axel, and you know how we do. Yeah, I got the juice. We game cool, make them look like cool. Always play it cool, that's the biggest rule. Forget what they doing, keep on doing. I've been making loot since like 22. Ask me how I made it right here in the booth. I'm always pursued cause of what I pursue. That's greatness, yeah, I gotta make it, I got things to lose. Boy, wanna get in my crew, but you can't get in my crew. Me, Axel, and Huber way too fireable. When this joint drop, better call the troops. And when you hear the drop, better raise the roof. Better raise the roof.
My guys know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep waves by my side. CJ Ike, now I gotta roll with ice. Cody's brothers, my guys know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep waves by my side. CJ Ike, now I gotta roll with ice. Ride or die, 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 ride or die. Cody's brothers, my guys know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep waves by my side. CJ Ike, now I gotta ride or die.
Good evening. Welcome to World Health News. I am your host, Steve Belcher. Thank you for joining us. Look, tonight's show, we're talking about kidney groups. Are they effective? Now, this show is not about highlighting our guest support group, but to answer the question from their perspective, are support groups effective? But before I start this show, I like to say, talking to others who are also getting through a chronic illness, whether it's kidney disease or any other disease, can be much needed opportunity to vent, share information, get advice, and receive and provide support. However, we know that there's another side of support group. So here to talk about this, I have an all-star cast of the top in their kidney space. First, I want to bring on Jen Benson, who is founder and CEO of the Transplant Journey. Also, she is co-president of TSO, Transplant Support Organization. Let me give her the VIP welcome. Well, first, before I bring on Jim Benson, let me bring on my co-host. All right. He's no stranger to the kidney space. You all know him. Let me give him the VIP welcome. Jared Brown, what's going on, man?
Hey, man, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. It's a
Host
great
of
day.
the Warriors Quest. What's happening, man?
Man, I'm glad to be here. All-star cast is right. A lot of these guys I respect and I admire, and I'm excited. I'm really excited to be here for the show and to rub shoulders with all these people.
Great, man. Great. So let's bring on our first guest. Like I said, she's founder and CEO of Transplant Journey, also co-president of TSO, Transplant Support Organization, Jen Benson. I'm going to give her the VIP guest intro. Jen Benson, what's going on?
Hey, Jen.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Hi.
All right. Kind of move to your left a little bit.
Okay.
There you go. There you go. So how's the weather up in Connecticut?
Oh, it's hot. Very hot today.
Is it really? Wow.
I love your earrings.
Oh, thank you.
All right, let's bring on the next guest, Jared.
All right.
What'd you say, Jen?
Jared looks a little scruffy. He's got a little mountain man going on there.
I know, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, is it still snowing up in Utah, Jared?
We still have a little snow up in the mountains, but it's looking a lot like summer right now. It really is.
All right, our next guest, she's founder and executive director of Kindness for Kidneys International. Sharon Rouse, let me give her VIP treatment. Hey, Sharon, what's going on?
Hey.
How are you? How are you?
All right, thanks for...
I was jamming to the music there.
Yeah, a lot of people like their music. You can thank Jared Brown for that.
Thank you, Jared.
Yeah, but welcome
welcome.
to World Health News. Let me bring on our next guest. She's from New York, CEO at For Kidney's Sake, Dawn M. Dawson. Hey, Dawn.
Hi, Dawn.
Hey, how you doing, Jared?
Hi.
How's everything?
Hey, I'm great. Good to see you.
How's
Great to see
everything,
you
Dawn?
too. Everything is wonderful, wonderful.
All right. Thanks for joining World Health News this evening. Let me bring on our last guest so we can get the show going. Our last guest is Executive Director for KidneySolutions.org. Everybody knows him in the kidney space, has his own podcast show. Kent Bressler. Hey, Kent, how you doing?
Kent.
Doing well. I just want to say that in my vernacular, that music is just groovy.
Nice.
Well, Kent,
Nice.
let me start off with you, Kent, because obviously I feel you're the oldest person in the group.
Really?
And you've probably been doing what you're doing the longest. How long? Well, let me just start like that. Let me not say that. How long have you been doing Kidney Solutions?
Well, we're running Kidney Solutions itself for around 5 years now. But
Jen, how long?
Yeah, in general, I've been in working with kidney patients for almost 25 years.
Okay,
Wow.
Jen, how long? Transplant Journey.
Transplant Journey's been around for a year, but TSO has been around for 22 years as a support group.
Okay, what about you, Sharon?
Kindness for Kidneys has been around for 2 years, and our support group for a year. We just celebrated a year in March.
Congratulations.
Nice.
And Don, I know you assumed the role, and again, our condolences to the passing on Angie. But I know this was unexpected of you, Don, to take on that role. But how long have you been involved with Angela before you assumed the role of CEO for Kidney's sake?
I was her administrative secretary for about 6 years. For Kidney's sake has been in existence for 8 years. I've been CEO for a year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's start off with Jen, since she said, you work with, TSO, and you said they've been around for 22 years?
22 years.
As an organization.
Yeah.
So Jen, what makes a successful support group? And then I want to ask Kent that, in your opinion.
I think a successful support group really is the camaraderie of its people. TSO was founded by Ellen Bellhouse, really, and the core of TSO, why it really came together was Ellen Bellhouse went to Westchester Medical Group, which is in New York, which is in Valhalla. And she went to a doctor, Dr. Khalid Butt, and said, what we're looking to do is we need a voice of the patients. And what he said to her was, you can use my office as a meeting ground. And what happened was they came together, and the support group is not just for transplant patients. It's for pre-transplant patients. It's for family members. It's for donor families to come together and support one another. It's to provide education, and it's to provide advocacy for all avenues, and to educate one another, and really mentor each other and work together. And they meet monthly, and really look and lean on one another. And it's the regularity that they provide to each other. Mm-hmm. There's no lack of this. It's scheduled monthly meeting, and that doesn't fall down. It's something that that you can go to, and you can be open, and you can communicate with each other because you've all been there. So you can all relate on one level or another. I think that's what's key about support groups.
Ken?
Open and share.
Right. Can you chime in, Ken?
Yeah, I think that the most important thing about support groups is that there's a lot of listeners in the group. People come into the group to get a feeling of making sure that they're accepted into the group, but most of all that there's somebody there that's going to listen, not talk, just listen. Okay. And then there's also the caveat of making sure that everybody there gets a voice. You can't run a support group, can't have a support group, can't be a support group if everybody can't communicate with it. Mm-hmm. Everybody needs to be able to say something. And that means we meet weekly. We have been since, for about a year and a half now because of COVID. And I think that it just the upside of support groups is the fact that you have a chance to ask a question, get a question answered, and that it's open to anybody that's interested in transplant, including altruistic donors, people who have been transplanted, people who are on dialysis and looking for a transplant. But most of all, if you've been transplanted, how do you keep your kidney?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, Don, let me ask you, your group is kind of different, or let me not say different, but unique, because for kidney's sake, your group sponsors a lot of gatherings for kidney patients to socialize and interact, not just to sit in a circle or be on Zoom and talk about what's going on in their lives, but to socialize, from going out to bowl or holding social events or maybe going to the movies. Talk about that.
Well, you're right. We're a social organization, and our mission is to battle isolation and depression among dialysis patients. And how we do this is we have social events and activities and educational events to improve quality of life. Yes, we do. We did have bowling events, Pink and Pearl events. We have a yearly Patients Awards dinner and things of that nature. Since COVID, we've had to resort to doing things strictly on Zoom. Although with Zoom, I find that I get a lot of emails with patients wanting to talk to me and ask questions, and in talking to them, I'm able to not counsel, but I'm able to provide some kind of support, when they have questions about transplantation, or they'll tell me, this is going on at their unit, or how they feel about their family members not understanding what's going on with them and things of that nature. So we do provide that kind of support. We've had some events via Zoom. We had a mental health event where we had some speakers speak about their mental health and how to know the difference between sadness and depression. To learn about what you eat can make you feel depressed. So we have events like that to educate patients about how they feel. So now we're going to try to do hybrid. We're going to try to have some events inside, a venue, well, outside, but inside a venue, and then some, maybe Facebook Live. So we're trying to get back outside again.
Sure.
So, so, so we find that what we try to do is try to get patients to talk more about how they feel and to get outside and to know that dialysis is not the end of life. Okay. That's basically, what we try to do.
All right.
Now, Sharon, by your organization, you said this is your 2-year or 1-year
1 year
celebration?
for the support groups, 2
Okay.
years as a nonprofit organization.
Okay. So as a support group, the 1 year, again, congratulations. What has been the hurdles for you? I know you have a little support with the AAKP with help setting up. Well, but for you, what has been the biggest challenges in this first year with building a support group?
So we started the week before COVID. So as you can imagine, when COVID hit, we had our first meeting in person. So the goal was to have the meetings for people on dialysis and anyone in the Southern Maryland region. When I was on dialysis, I felt like, well, we're the support groups out in the Southern Maryland region. You have to kind of travel into DC if you wanted to get support, participate in support. So we started it in person for people that lived in the Southern Maryland region. And then that was March 8th. And then, as you know, everything shut down the week after. So we had to pivot and we had to decide, okay, what do we do next? And so it was a hurdle there trying to get the word out. We had gone to several facilities and done surveys and things like that to get a feel for who wanted to participate and where they would be willing to travel. And so we had gotten all of that straight, had the first meeting, and then here we are in the midst of COVID. And so from that, that was a challenge to pivot, to reach out to the local facilities, to have people spread the word. But it ended up being a blessing in disguise, Steve, because now we have people that participate from wherever. It's not just people that are in Maryland. We have people from Seattle and Florida. And so we it as well. And so it ended up being a blessing in disguise. We started it out for this region, but we've transitioned to Zoom, and then now we're able to have even more people participate.
Okay, great. Now, Jen, what are the challenges of starting and maintaining a support group?
I think a lot of times it's the commitment to the support group. A lot of people, really think, okay, this is going to be great. I'm going to commit to the support group. But I think all of us will see people are gung-ho and life gets in the way. And
right.
I think I speak for myself. We've all, as, kidney recipients here know when you don't feel well and you feel sick, it's very hard to get yourself motivated to do things. And, all of a sudden you look down and you think, oh my gosh, okay, I've got another appointment, or a doctor appointment comes up, or, okay, it's one more thing that I have to put on my schedule. It's one more thing that I have to do besides the regular doctor's appointments. It's the regimen of the medications, and it's just one more thing that goes on your list of something that you need to get done. And then it's that commitment of, oh, okay, now I have to go and I have to listen to other people's woes. And it's,
Right.
People are thinking this, okay, and now it's not just my own daily struggles and battles that I have to go. Do I really want to listen to other people's daily struggles and battles? And I think that's something that sometimes people think, I'm coping with my own struggles and battles. Do I want to listen to theirs today? Maybe
Right.
not. Because I'm climbing my own mountain and battle. And sometimes people they don't want to hear it. They don't want to deal with it. They want to escape their own reality. So it's kind of a catch-22.
Right.
As good as it is to vent and clear their stress by telling people what they're going through and they're coping with, they don't want to necessarily go to that support group and talk about it, even though they should be going to, because it's nice to know there are others out there going through the same stuff that you're going through. Because I think it is a benefit to know that you're not alone. And that's why support groups are so good for people.
Right.
Because
Jared.
sometimes it can be very isolating.
Right.
But it is hard to make time to go to the support groups. But I think because of COVID, especially with TSO and Transplant Journey. Having the Zoom now has been a real benefit. TSO
I can imagine.
Has especially seen a real increase in our meeting numbers. It's really grown. Whereas before, when we were doing in-person meetings, our numbers were not as great, and they've really boomed because we've been doing the Zooms
Virtually. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what you guys have seen, if your numbers have really boomed a lot, but ours really have.
And let me ask Jared. Hey, Jared, you have a sister-in-law that has kidney disease and had a transplant for about 2-3 years now. Did she participate in support group?
No, she doesn't go to a support group, but I also have an uncle who has PKD, and he actually is on the transplant list right now, currently, and so he's looking for a living kidney donor. He doesn't go to a support group per se, but he does go into the a Facebook Messenger chat group that we have, where we have a bunch of patients that are in this Facebook Messenger group, and he participates in that.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to say
ahead,
something very briefly, though, is that Jen said something about I thought what she said was very true, that sometimes people don't want to listen to other people's problems, because sometimes people's personalities, they don't want to hear other people's problems because it's hard for them. Maybe they don't feel like they can help them, or they don't want to hear something negative. But the other thing is that sometimes it's very difficult to share your own personal information with other people, as therapeutic as it is, because it does make you feel better, all right, emotionally, to get it off your chest, all right, and to get it out there and talk about it. But it's difficult, because the reason why it's difficult is because when you're actually talking about it, it brings up emotions from that experience. When you're thinking about it and talking about it, it stirs up emotions. And so when you're having to talk about it in a group, number one, that's hard, but then talk about it and bring up emotions for, what you actually felt during that experience, that can be very difficult to kind of bring up those feelings again.
Right. Now, by you saying that, now, Kent, let me ask you, do you think, or have you seen miscommunication in support groups, especially in online support group, and that is maybe issues with the way the tone is conveyed during the support meetings online? Do you think that there's some miscommunications in some of these groups?
Sure. I'm going to just kind of let you know that we started out originally in our very first support group was an all transplant support group. And that was, we had 13 people. We had 2 or 3 people with lung transplants, 2 or 3 people with kidney, one kidney pancreas. We also had 3 heart transplant patients, and we were meeting at the hospital locally in a town of about 25,000 people. And that was quickly, when COVID got here, it wiped all that out. And we just picked that up and kept that group going. But as Kidney Solutions has started to expand into the preemptive field, what we've decided is to move off to a Monday night just for kidney transplant patients or people with kidney disease, anybody interested in it. And that has kind of like separated all of this out, so that a person who's had a kidney transplant or a person who's had a heart transplant, we don't have to talk. We can talk specifically to them, all right, separately. To go back to your question, yes, some people, when they're in have heard something or read something online, and they may decide to share that with the group. And it becomes kind of disconcerting when that information is, in your opinion, tainted or just absolutely false. And you just can't come out and say, "Oh no, you're crazy. That doesn't make any sense." You have to have some kind of tact to say, "Well, what? By the way, where did you get that? Or what was it that brought you to your point here?" In other words, you just have to be open, and it's situational. Anybody who tries to predict what's going to happen in a support group, it's going to happen, and you just have to deal with it.
Hey, Don, let me ask you, for kidney's sake, when y'all do your social events or gatherings, is the group mentioning anything about kidney disease, or just for that moment when you're socializing or whatever function you're doing, it's just about that function? Talk about that.
Well, there are a lot of different events. The educational events are different subjects. Like for example, June 12th, for in honor of Men's Health Month, we're having a lunch, learn, and live just about men's health. We're having Ken Teasley, Dave White, Steve Weiss, and it's just for men. And they're going to talk about men's health and what men feel when they're on dialysis, what are the issues that they go through when they're on dialysis. So this is kind of like a support group just for men on dialysis. So that's what they're going to be discussing, the issues that men go through when they're on dialysis.
Man, that's awesome.
That is awesome.
Right. Every year we have something just for the ladies called Pink and Pearls. During the Pink and Pearls, we have a motivational speaker. We have maybe a female gynecologist. We have maybe a liturgical dancers. We have a singer, and the event is just ultra feminine, just for women, to remind women that you are still a woman. No matter the machine, no matter dialysis, you are still the beautiful woman that you are. And during these events, we talk about what women talk about when they're on dialysis. So each event has a different subject and has a different theme that we talk about. Yeah. So we do have a support group within For Kidney's Sake. It's called For Kidney's Sake, When We Say We Understand, We Understand. And on the flyer is a picture of my fistula and my husband's fistula. And
I've seen that.
Yeah. So, we have had a couple of meetings. And during the meetings, what I find is that when people talk about what they're going through, I notice that the other people that are in the meeting, they are helping and giving other people advice. They're sharing referrals, they're sharing ideas, and it's really a wonderful experience. However, it doesn't happen too often. It seems as though they're not really interested in a support group. They're more interested in our events. They're more interested in emailing me or talking to me one-on-one, or like I said, talking, during our events. So, so that's basically what happens. Each event has a different theme, and that's when the patients get together and they talk about different things.
Okay, awesome. Now, Sharon, let me ask you, by you, again, pretty much new year, what are some of the limitations that you experience in your group? I mean, have anyone reached out to tell you they may have felt uncomfortable or lost of trust or personality clashes? Have you experienced any of that, any limitations in your group?
No. So as Don was saying that, I was thinking about our group. Our group is a little different in that most of the people that come to the group, they are there to receive information so that they're empowered to then go out and help other people. We have several people whose family members come. They don't come, but their family members come to get information. And so I find that most of the time we'll have a few people share, but most of the time we don't have a lot of people that decide to share in an open forum like that. We usually have a guest speaker and a specific topic, and we got the topics based on the surveys that we sent out to the local facilities of what patients wanted to talk about. What did they want more information on?
Interesting.
And so I would say we really haven't had any personality clashes, because most of the time, like Dawn said, they'll reach out to me personally when they have their own personal issues. But when it comes to the group, it's more of just a participatory type of situation where they're participating. Maybe like the last time we had a doctor that came on and he was talking about some of the CMS treatment models that are coming down the pike and how they can advocate for themselves in the facility and questions to be asking, things to be looking for. And so they're interested in, okay, well, now that I have this information, I can now go and advocate for myself. But when it comes to personal things, I find that, they'll reach out to me through an email or call me or something like that. It doesn't necessarily come up in the group. Sometimes, but not often.
Mm-hmm. Now, Jen, you recently was named co-president of TSO. That organization been around for, 2 decades? And before COVID, had in-person meetings, monthly meetings. From your perspective, what does it take far as the characteristics for someone to start their own support group, from your opinion? So, like I'm saying, like not just anyone could, I guess, they get a transplant, or not even, let's not just say transplant. Somebody may have lupus or sickle cell or whatever, and they want to form a group. What characteristics do a person need to start a support group, in your opinion?
So I'll use Transplant Journey as an example, because it's very different from TSO. Because Transplant Journey is a support group, but it's very different than TSO as a support group, for example. Transplant Journey is a support group, but we offer one-on-one support to our patients, and we are all organ disciplines, and we provide support, which is we match our mentors to our mentees based on obviously what organ they need, and we cover pre through post transplantation. Whereas TSO also covers all organ disciplines, and they cover pre and post transplant, but they offer group support. So they have their monthly meetings, and they kind of sit, in a round group, but they have now obviously gone towards Zoom. And they did this through the help of, a medical center. And they did this obviously through the creation of this woman who still sits on the board with TSO and the help of this doctor. But I will say with both organizations, it was because I myself and this woman, Ellen, felt the need to create a patient voice and support based on the experience that they felt was lacking, and the need for camaraderie based on experience.
Okay.
I think you need a lot of determination, and you need a lot of drive and focus, and you need to have the time commitment that you're going to put into this. You can't take something like this lightly.
No.
And you have to give it your all, and you can't take this as a side job. If you're going to do this, it's your blood, sweat, and your tears.
You're all in.
And it's you're living it, you're sleeping it, and you're breathing it 24/7.
Bleeding it.
Kent, we had a comment from Don Kurkowski, who is mentor with Transplant Journey, and she says sometimes people feel more comfortable talking to an individual, which is the great thing about Transplant Journey. Now, with that being said, when you first started your group, did you have that issue? Or not an issue, but did you start off talking to people one-on-one and then it kind of expanded into a group? Or it just started off where you got people, you said this is going to be a support group, and then people just came in? How did you start off with that?
The original support group in little old Kerrville, Texas, started with an advertisement in the paper on Wednesday afternoon. People heard about it, and through the hospital was really good about advertising that we were going to have a support group for anyone who has a transplant or was looking to get a transplant or wanted to be a donor. And a gal that works with the Ultimate Gift of Life in our community came in and helped me with it. She said, you know, this is a good idea. Let's just get it out to anybody who wants to attend. You know, and those folks that will come because they're interested. And then the ones that feel that they're okay, they'll move on. And we're pretty well stayed with that concept. The thing that really strikes me is that you can do individual. We're not individual counselors here, okay? That's not what we do. We don't give out medical information. We don't give out psychiatric information. We don't, talk about mental health as a professional. We identify those that need or have concerns and then get them referred out where they can get some help. But yet to Dawn's comment about individual, yes, everybody would like a one-on-one. But when you're in the community or when you're in the large groups, it's tough to do. And you want to talk about time consumption. That's why we went to groups on the virtual, because not only, like it was said before, do we get people from Connecticut, New Jersey, New York, California, Michigan, Houston, San Antonio. They come from all over because virtual is a good basis for it. And you can do a lot of an analysis of a patient's condition and or their drive and how interested they are in getting better or staying, focused on their illness. And then you can get them the help they need. I can't, my patient load, I won't tell you what it is, but it's grown significantly in the last 2.5 years. And everybody told me, you'll never be able to handle it. Well, guess what? I've been able to handle it. And one of the reasons is because of virtual Zoom conferences. Those are very, very important to me. I wanted to just I queried my group on Monday night, which is all transplant, dialysis patients, anybody who's looking for a kidney. I call it the kidney support group. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to read a couple things. I asked them just the direct question, how important are support groups to you? Okay. And I just said it right out at the very beginning. And then through the I would ask them again, how important are these things to you? And so it's fun to get it done virtually. More people get to participate. You get to hear others' stories and their issues. You can get your questions answered by those you trust. You can make contact with those who can help you. Having people around you is important. And this one, what kind of grazed me really, it caught my attention. It took me out of a very dark place.
Wow.
Wow. And then one fella chimed up and said, this should be part of your health plan. It should be reimbursed for people like you who do these kinds of things so that you can meet more people, get more people. All right. And it should be part of your health plan. I tended to agree with it. 501c are notorious, for being, quote, nonprofit. And our group Kidney Solutions is all volunteer. No one draws a salary. So, and fellowship is important. And then we enjoy having speakers. We love the speakers that come in and talk to us. I've had nephrologists. I've had street pastors. I've had people that don't have anything to do with kidney disease, but work with chronic illness. There's multitudes of things you can do. So.
Wow. This pretty much goes back to what you were saying in the beginning, Jen.
All of these folks that are here today, they have great programs. Everybody's program is really, really important, or people wouldn't be coming. So when they talk the way they've been talking about support and helping people, that's what it's all about. It's patient focused and patient centered. We just advocate for that. Each one of us, I can tell by what's been said here. It's not about us. It's not about the group. It's about the individual who comes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we got about 10 minutes left, but what I want to just go around and let each person talk about their organization and what they plan to achieve in the future. And we'll start with Dawn. All right. So Dawn, just share with us again a little about For Kidney's Sake, where you're located, and what's the plans for the future.
Well, for kidney's sake, we don't have an exact office, but we're located in Queens, but we work
Okay.
all over, all boroughs. Um, well, for since I've been CEO, I really have been concentrating on the mental health aspect of kidney disease and dialysis.
Great.
Because I'm also a patient navigator. I work in a dialysis unit, and one thing that I see and notice and have experienced is that depression is an epidemic among dialysis CKD patients, and doctors maybe they don't have time to pay attention to the patients. I realize that if you talk to a patient and the patient says, Dawn, I'm tired, I can't do this anymore, I don't want to do this anymore. In about a month, 1 month to 3 months, they pass away. I realize that your mind is the most powerful tool you have in healing and beating this disease. So what I want to do with For Kidney's Sake is to concentrate on the mental health, to have events that will have patients remember to live their life, to on the disease, to not let the disease rule them, and to remind them that this disease is not who they are.
Oh, amen.
I really want to have events to let patients know that there is a life outside of that dialysis unit. Because from what I experienced and from what I experienced with my significant other and my patients at the unit, is that mental health is really, really important.
Yes,
And
it is.
so, and people are not concentrating on that. So For Kidney's Sake, wants to remind patients to live your life like it's golden. We're not dietitians, we're not doctors, we don't wear white coats. We just want patients to live your life till you can't live it anymore. So every event we have, we're going to put the mental health aspect into it. We're going to play music. We're going to party. We're going to do everything we have to bring joy and happiness to each and every patient as much as we can, as many patients as we can, for as long as we can.
Awesome.
And that's what we want For Kidney's Sake to do.
Awesome. Thank you.
Good work.
Sharon,
Thank you.
you next.
Wow, that's a hard act to follow.
Exactly.
I really enjoy For Kidney's Sake. I love everything that they do. And Angela, I met her when I went to the AAKP conference, and she was a blessing to me. So I'm sitting here feeling every word that you were saying, Dawn. But thank you so much. So Kindness for Kidneys, our entire nonprofit is dedicated to educating, encouraging, and empowering kidney warriors and their families. And so the things that we do are all geared around those three things. Education. When I'm educated, I can then make sound decisions for myself and my family, in addition to working with my healthcare providers. Encouragement, because like Dawn said, we do experience a lot of different things, a lot of different mental health issues when you're going through such a difficult time in life. And so we want to encourage warriors to look at us. Look at how we're making it through, and let this be sort of when we take care packages to the facilities. I have a picture on the postcards of me in the dialysis chair. I've been where you've been. and you can get to the other side of this. This is not a death sentence. This is a chapter in your story. And so you want to make the most of that. And then empowered, when I feel empowered, then I'm more apt to participate in my healthcare. When I feel like I have a part to play in this, I will participate and do the things that I need to do. And so education, encouragement, and empowerment. And so moving forward, and as the world is opening up, we are going to be doing some more in person. We're going to stay virtual for right now for our support groups, which meet on the second Sunday of every month at 3:30. And so we're going to keep that going. And then we're gearing up for our annual Christmas drive, where we go out and we sing Christmas carols and provide care packages to kidney warriors. And so we weren't able to do it this year. This year we had meals sent to them with cards in it, just saying, hey, we're thinking about you. But that face-to-face encounter is what I want and what we strive to do. When I meet a kidney warrior and when they see the work that we're doing and that know that they're able to participate in it, there's some joy that we see behind that, especially when we're there at the facility singing Christmas carols and just letting them know that they're thought of. And so I'm looking forward to that this Christmas, and hopefully we're able to actually go the way that we used to. But we've expanded our Christmas drive over the last 2 years, and we're hoping to expand. This past year, 2020, we were able to reach over 300 patients. And so our goal is to grow each year. So we're able to take care packages. And again, to the mental health piece, it's about letting them know that we see you. We are praying for you. We're here for you to support you. Yes, this may have come and hit you like a Mack truck, but this is just a stop it's a bump in the road. And I also encourage them to see past themselves. See the other side of this. What are you going to be able to contribute to society because you sat in that chair? I know for me, it was life-changing. Because I sat in that chair myself, I want other people to see that you're now going to be able to go and help others and pull others along, because this is a chapter in your story. It is not the end of your story.
Well said. Well said.
Absolutely. All right, Kent, you next. What you want us to know about Kidney Solutions and what's the plan?
The plan is to continue getting more volunteers, more people that want to work with kidney patients that are knowledgeable, that have had a transplant or on dialysis, and we're just going to train them up to help with our patient load. I think the most important thing about Kidney Solutions right now is the fact that we have several things going. I got a big blog section coming out. You go to kidneysolutions.org and it'll explain everything about us. I don't really want to go through that whole thing, not enough time. But I can tell you that we're patient-focused, patient-centered, from the time we start looking for a donor till the time you go to transplant, till the time you have your transplant, and then we work with you afterwards so you can keep your transplant. And all in all, I think our organization right now, we're trying to open up the preemptive market. Preemptive transplant, in my opinion, is probably one of the most important things that we can do in the transplant space because of so many people being on. There's no real reason in our mind that a person can't be educated about transplant before dialysis. And I think when that caveat gets out there, when people start thinking transplant, not dialysis, I think it'll be a better world for kidney patients. There'll still be dialysis, tons of it, because of circumstances. But everybody needs an opportunity to know about transplant. And it's the most important thing, right? From the get-go.
Right.
If you know that you are having kidney problems, what are your options? Not only what are your options, you're then the one that gets to make the decision, not anybody else. You're the patient.
I like
who
it.
make the decision. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate everybody's been on this talk tonight. I've learned an awful lot.
That's awesome. Now, Jen, the last and final word, transplant journey and TSO co-president.
I'll try not to ramble too much since I got two organizations. As far as TSO, I'm just going to say TSO is going to continue educating and advocating for a patient voice, and continue providing a voice for all, transplant pre and post patients. We have newsletters that go out to 600 members, and they meet monthly every third Wednesday of the month. Transplantsupport.org. They're a wonderful organization. They cover in New York, Westchester County, Putnam County, Dutchess County, and the Bronx. And they're absolutely fantastic. Been around for 22 years. I can't plug them enough. They're absolutely excellent. So please check out their website. And they're absolutely wonderful. So please support them and look into joining them. And as far as Transplant Journey, I will say we are going to continue working hard and advocating for our patients that we work with. What we do is we match our mentees with our mentors based on our experience and the journeys that we've all walked in terms of our experiences going through transplant, both pre and post. And we are striving to advocate for them on all aspects. We're looking to build an app to make things easier in terms of looking for living donors in both kidney and liver, and providing education and empowering patients on all fronts there. And our website is Transplant Journey. We also have a support group on Facebook. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, as is TSO. And we'll provide help for anyone who's looking for it, as does TSO. And it's been great with all you guys on this panel tonight. And I just want to thank Steve and Jared for having us. And for everyone else out there, please be safe, guys.
Yeah, I'd like to thank everyone for coming on tonight. Seriously, taking the time out of your schedule, Kent, Dawn, Sharon, and Jen. I really appreciate y'all sharing your stories and the efficiency of support groups from your perspective. I can't really thank you enough. And also just like to extend a special thanks for Jen Benson, because she pretty much kind of helped me navigate this topic on support groups and the effectiveness of it. So thank you with that, Jen. Guys, tune in for the Lisa Baxter Show coming up at 8:15 on the Urban Health Outreach Media. And again, guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us, Steve.
All right, talk to Jared for a moment. See you guys later. Talk to you soon.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
All right.
Good night.
With Jared.
Oh, there we go.
Hey,
there's
Jared.
Sharon.
Hey, man.
Hey, look.
So what's your thoughts on this show tonight, man, before we go?
Man,
It's a great panel.
Very great. Just a great panel. It was an honor to be part of the group tonight, because every single person said something very memorable, and really a lot of things struck me. And so I'm going to leave tonight thinking about these different topics or different things that they said, different things that they do uniquely, whether it's like Dawn had talked about how they have a panel just for the men and then a panel for the women, so that
I love that.
Yeah, I like that. It was unique. And I thought that struck me, and the different things that Kent does, and Jen and Sharon, just very unique perspectives from all of them. It was super, super informative.
Oh, I enjoyed it. And I figured that's how it was going to be. And that's what I talked to Jen about when I decided to talk to her about the show, that each group comes from a different perspective, and but they're all valuable.
Right.
They're all valuable.
Absolutely.
in their own retrospect. So, man, this was a great show. The panel, the show, we had a great turnout tonight, and I hope that we can have future shows with great topics and the engagement that we had. I looked at the comments. We had maybe over 50 comments, Jared.
Yeah, a lot of comments. More comments, the more visible this is with the algorithm. So much appreciated. Seriously, guys, the comments were just coming in very regularly. And this is going to help make sure this is visible. And it's not that we want this to be visible so you see our mugs. It's what we want to get help for people that need help. And if the algorithm works in such a way that if more comments and more shares make this become more visible, then we help more people. And that's the end result. We want to create help and support and encouragement.
Thank you, Phyllis, for watching the show. And please like, subscribe, and follow our channel at Urban Health Outreach Media and our other pages. Thank you, Mildred. We appreciate you watching. We appreciate everyone watching from wherever you watch tonight. And we ask you, please continue to follow our shows, The Warriors Quest, every other Wednesday now, because we're going to be hosting a new show. But The Warriors Quest every other Wednesday. Lisa Baxter Show coming up. World Health News. And Bella's coming out with a new show soon. So, man, we got some new things on the horizon.
Absolutely. It's very exciting. Yeah, it's very exciting. Very exciting.
So, thank you, guys. We're going to tune out. We end out here together, Jed. I'll let you hit the outro for the World Health News video, and we just take it on home from there.
All right, here we go. Good night, everyone. I'm going to hit that outro. Peace.
These brothers my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side, CJ Ike, now I gotta roll with ice. These brothers my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side, CJ Ike, now I gotta roll with ice. Ride or die, 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 ride or die. These brothers my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side, CJ Ike, now I gotta ride or die.